What is up, everybody? Spencer Stein here for Pickup Sports Talk. I hope everyone had a nice summer. We're going to be back with videos in about a week, but I just had to come in here and talk about the MLB trade deadline really quickly. The Cubs made some interesting moves by not making moves, and I think what this means by them not trading Wilson Contreras is they must extend him this offseason. Otherwise, it's going to look terrible for Jed Hoyer. Honestly, as sad as I was to see him go, it would have been better to trade him and get prospects in return like we did last summer than for him to walk in free agency. You saw last summer, Chris Bryant and Javier Baez, they switched teams in free agency and we got the prospects back. That's what we need to do with Wilson. So now if Jed Hoyer does not re-sign Wilson Contreras, it is going to be a clown move. It is not going to be good for the organization. Yes, I'm glad he's there, and if we extend him, I think it's a great move because he's the best catcher in baseball. But this could backfire heavily. Also, just to mention the Juan Soto deal, biggest trade probably in professional sports since Wayne Gretzky was traded, at least the biggest talent guy that was traded. The return for the Nationals was there. I think it was a good move for them, especially because he wanted to go. But I think this marks a very momentous thing in baseball, and I think now baseball is going to follow basketball and football and be a player-driven league. Players can choose the teams they want to go to now. They have the control over the owners. They're going to be being paid a ton, just like we see all these guys getting extensions. And I don't want to say there's going to be super teams in baseball, but I think these death lineups are starting to grow and how many teams got them, and now I think that's going to be a bigger trend in baseball. You see the Dodgers have Mookie Betts, who, by the way, still has 10 years left on his deal. Freddie Freeman, who still has 7 years left on his deal. And Trey Turner, I know he's a free agent, but I have a feeling the Dodgers re-sign him, and if they don't, they will get someone of that caliber. You see the Padres, they have Soto, Machado, and Tatis, who's probably now the best trio in baseball. They're going to be hitting 1, 2, 3 there with Josh Bell at cleanup, who's also a big part of this trade. And then you all see teams like the Braves. They just signed Austin Riley to a 10-year deal, on top of Acuna having, I think, 8 years on his contract. Matt Olson's being paid a ton. So the Braves have a team like that. The Mets, Lindor has a lot of years left on his deal. DeGrom has 5 years, and they have Max Scherzer. I think these teams, although the Mets are kind of unique, they have pitching, are starting to build these death lineups with decades of years on these players' contracts. So that's going to be interesting to see. Also, I mean, if you think about the Yankees, they don't have guys on those contracts yet, and Aaron Judge is an impending free agent, but I think you're going to see him sign a big deal. And I think even, we're starting to talk about Shohei Ohtani. I know his free agency is a year and a half away. I will guarantee you Shohei Ohtani is going to go to a team with other star players. So baseball is finally following in the steps of like basketball just 10 years later and getting these super teams. I'm not saying they're all going to work, by the way. In baseball, it's really a team sport. You see the two best players, arguably, in the sport right now, Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani on the same team. The Angels aren't very successful. I think although might not be successful, that's where the game is trending. Super teams, killer lineups, big contracts with big market teams taking over the game. Hopefully the Cubs can get in on that. I think signing Wilson Contreras can be a big first step towards that. There's a lot of free agents this year to go around. If Aaron Judge or Trey Turner do leave, they will go to teams to create death lineups. So maybe the Cubs can create one there, but I'm really worried about this move, keeping Wilson Contreras, keeping Ian Happ, but Jed Hoyer can make up for it. He can extend these players and make the fan base really happy. So stay tuned with Pickup Sports Talk. We're going to be having our first episode of Season 3 in about a week. Tons of NFL stuff coming, but right now baseball is just a crazy trade deadline, one that will change the game.